All right, week 6 check-in. Just crazy that it blew by this quick, and we are on our final 2 weeks for this little getting ready for spring break thing. So let's kind of jump into it. So first, let's get all the good stuff done. Pictures, 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 pictures. Let's go over all the progress pictures. So for everyone that has not tuned in, starting weight was 183. And then I just averaged out my weight for 2 week chunks. In this last 2 week chunk, I did each week because it is going to start getting slower for the average weight. So average weight for that first 14 days, 180.3. 15 to 28, so week 3 to 4, that was 178.6. And then 20 days, 28 to 35, week 4 to 5, 176.8. And then this last week, so this 6 week, 175.7. So overall, I'd say I'd give myself a B, and we'll kind of break those down individually. I'd say workout wise, again, that's an A. I got in all 10 resistance training workouts for these last 2 weeks, so 5 a week on there. I'll show you my Garmin somewhere around here. So that was the same as last week or last phase. No change there. I got in all of my workouts. And then let's break down some of the other activity. So we'll start here with cycling. So for last phase, I averaged about an hour and 51, or sorry, last phase was an average of hour and 42 minutes. This past phase was hour and 55 minutes-ish. So I'll put, again, same thing, Garmin links to the cycling, but that was right on point. Like I said, my goal was to creep up to closer to 2 hours for those last 2 weeks, or for these past 2 weeks. And I pretty much skimmed right under that. So super happy with that one. Run, my goal was probably adding in 1 additional run per week. So I actually didn't get any runs in the first week, but the second week I got in 2. So I still kind of averaged 2, I guess you can call that. So 2 runs. Total was 3.9 miles. I did one that was 1.9 and 1 2-mile run. Again, I'm going to put these all up on the screen. And the goal here is I have been rehabbing some heel issues. So this is just essentially just kind of acclimating using some graded exposure, because I do have some goals for the end of summer to get in half marathon PB PR. So I'm just slowly adding this in, but right now my main focus is the strength and then the cycling, because I have that 80-mile ride coming up in the summer. Step wise, killed it. Did really good on my steps. So I'm going to show again the average for this 2-week chunk. I got 13,000 February 5th through 11th, 13,000 some change, and then February 12th through 18th, 14,476. So that brings my average to 13,780 for this phase. Last phase was 12,600. So, an extra 1,100 steps on average per day here, which cool with. Food-wise, I give myself a B-ish. I would say overall adherence was pretty solid. But let's see. But I did have one lunch on the mountains. We ended up going snowboarding, and we met up with some friends. So that meal was off, my normal nutrition plan and stuff like that. I think overall made it worked, because what I generally do, and again, the best is always having a plan moving forward. Like, okay, I'm going to have, I'm going to go out to eat. So for me, I try to be as conservative or liberal, however you want to look at, meaning I try to bank a lot of calories. So, and this is one thing, not to go on a total side tangent. I see some people, they go out to eat and they're like, oh, I'll save myself 400 calories. Like, no. I save myself like 1,200 calories when I'm going out to eat, because again, whether it's fast food or restaurants, they're not cooking to make this macro friendly. They're cooking for flavor. There's going to be a shit ton of calories. It is what it is. So save those calories, whether it's for the end of the day or you're going to have to modify the rest of your day. So this one was lunch. So I knew, all right, so dinner and things like that, they're going to have to be lower, generally still high in protein, but lower in the carbs and fat, just to save some calories. So I did a pretty good job there, but obviously that meal was not on the plan. And then also I went off the plan for Valentine's Day. So on this one, I ended up getting us a charcuterie board, so a shit ton of cheese and meat, which probably wasn't terrible macro-wise, but I did buy this gigantic 3-pound steak. I'll put a picture up of it. They did a 3-pound ribeye in the shape of a heart, so I was like, I got to do this. So we ended up having that ribeye and I think some potatoes and veg and stuff like that. Not horrible, but ribeyes, if you look at the fat content, it's just really, really high fat content. And then we had some leftovers that I had. We made like steak quesadillas that weekend as well too. So there was a couple meals off plan, but overall is good. And then just another quick side tangent. Those were worth it to me. I would make the trade, at least for those meals, because sometimes you have to play this game of like, how much does it mean to you? So specifically, like, let's take that Valentine's Day meal. Yes, could I have gone, no, I don't want to eat that. We're eating chicken and rice. Like, sure, I could have done that for, I don't know, 0.5%, maybe 1% less body fat on the beach. That, like, for me personally, that's not worth it, at least this time around. Yeah, if I was doing some physique show or something like that where I made a full commitment to it and stuff like that, then sure, I might have made the, no, I'm sorry, I have to do this. But for this, that's not worth it. Again, this is just kind of a fun experiment. I don't need to be super duper shredded and stuff like that. And it's important to me to have a good balance on these things. So I'm extremely happy I did that and went off plan for that night because it was valuable to me and my girlfriend and everything like that. So, but I just wanted to share that because there is times where you have to kind of choose. For that night, the steak and the cheese and wine won. So those were my main meals off. Drinks, I gave myself a C++, and the reason I did this is last phase I gave myself a C+. This time I did a little bit better. It's just wild though because I'm gonna sound like an alcoholic here. I really don't drink that much, but just things add up. So for example, when we went to the mountain snowboarding, what we like to do is sometimes we'll buy some of those like fireball shooters, and they have like 1 or 2 or 3. So we ended up having 3 throughout that day, and then we split 2 beers, so I had 1 beer that day. But again, that's 4 drinks right there. And then on Valentine's Day, I think we had like 2 little shots of rum that we had from Costa Rica, and then we split a bottle of wine. It doesn't sound horrible over the span of 2 weeks, but that's still like an extra 1,000 calories of alcohol, which is going to be the most, like, I hate the like wasted empty calories, but alcohol is probably like it fits that as close as you can. And to be honest, I almost view it as negative just because it generally fucks something up, meaning it either makes you hungry because your ambitions are like, I don't give a crap, or makes you sleep worse that night, which then can in turn make you more hungry the next day, or sluggish, which you don't get as much activity. So it comes at a cost. And again, every single phase I have fit in alcohol, but again, just keep in mind it comes with a cost. And if you're extremely serious, you probably should lower it down as much as you humanly can. As you can see, I've not been the greatest at this, but that's okay because these things are also valuable to me, and I actively choose and stand by my decision every time I drink to say, yes, this is going to make it a little bit harder today or whatever, but it adds to the fun of the situation. This is just me personally in these situations. So again, you can't always have your cake and eat it too, and just be okay with whatever decisions that you make. And that's it. All right, so yeah. So overall, I'd say pretty good for this final phase. Wild to say that. The goal is to really try to full send as much as I can. So put here, the goal is another 1.5 to 3 pounds for this last 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks and some change. So let's just see what we can do. So phase 3 strategies. So number 1 is still just keep up with overall adherence as close as I can to the nutrition plan, workouts, and activity. 2, reduce drinking. I put in quotes here, good luck. And the reason why I put this is because this upcoming weekend, my girlfriend's mom's coming out. We're doing an early thing for her birthday since we're going to be in Cancun. So we're going to be out eating and drinking and stuff like that. So my goal is just to keep a balance on it. I don't want to be this, I don't want to say lame-o because that makes it sound kind of bad if you don't want to drink, which is an absolute fine thing. I respect the hell out of people that just say, you know what, I don't want to do it. But I will have some drinks. I want to have fun with her mom here and with other friends that we're going to meet up with on this upcoming weekend and whatnot. So that's fine. But again, just have a balance and also be okay with it. And that's kind of the goal. And then I put in other smoothies, again, just sticking mainly with almond milk. So I'm just looking at any liquid calories and trying to clean those up and keep them as lean as possible. If they have some protein, that's fine. But any extra fats, carbs, if I can replace it with almond milk or even just water, I'm going to do that just to save some calories because in my opinion, it doesn't change the smoothie or whatever I'm having all that much. So I'm okay with that. So again, cleaning that up. And just, again, it's just kind of overall trimming the fat as much as I can. Steps, and I put a post on my Instagram. If you're not following me, there's a link in the description. But I'm going to try to full send these and keep these above 15,000 a day. Not the easiest thing, depending on how busy I am and how much time I'm spending on the computer. But I think it's doable, at least for the average. I might have some that are 12, 13, but I think there's other days where I can get closer to 18, 19,000. So let's see what I can do these next 2 weeks. And then I'm going to include probably 1 to 2 runs a week, depending on how my heel's feeling. And again, the runs will include the steps anyway, so that it's not like insanely important detail and whatnot. But I am going to add that in. Cycling, let's see if we can push it a little bit more. So I put cycling 2 to 3 hours a week. But again, it's going to be relatively kind of full send. So if I'm feeling it, I'm going to I got it right here. I got my desk. I can work at the same time. So I'm going to spend as much time as I can on that bike within these next 2 weeks. And then just nutrition changes. I just stick with mainly lean protein sources. So again, sometimes I'll have a little bit higher fat content, steak, ground beef, things like that, chicken thighs. So I'm gonna try to stick as much as I can. And we went to Costco yesterday. Is to the chicken. We got a big pack of chicken breast tenderloins. So again, just trimming the fat as much as I possibly can, whilst trying to keep myself full and satisfied. So going with lean meats is generally is good, because again, between an 80% ground beef and a 98, like I don't the it's not gonna the 80% is not gonna fill you up all that much more, like calorie per calorie. The leaner one, you're gonna get more volume because it doesn't have as much fat. So I think that's always a good goal as you start really digging deep on these deficits and whatnot. So again, leaner proteins, let's stick to. And then I generally, at the end of the day, I have a pretty big serving of carbohydrates, whether it's from rice, potatoes, whatever. I'm a big carb guy. I'm pretty active and whatnot. So it's big. I mean, it's not unlikely for me to have like 90 to 100 grams of carbs for dinner. So, which is a lot, and I like that, and I can generally get away with it. But again, I'm going to dig deep for this last phase, so I might cut that portion to like 70% and add in, again, just more veggies. That's another big one, is just trying to add as much volume of veggies as I possibly can. Again, just to reduce calories a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, did a decent job. Let's try to full send these last 2 weeks, and let's see how it goes. So thank you again for following along on this journey. Let's see what we can do. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys in 2 weeks.